Dr. Williams, who has over 22 years active experience in real estate investment and management to date. Mr. Williams has been involved in buying, selling, and repositioning over $30 million in commercial, multifamily, and residential real estate. Dr. Williams earned a PhD in psychology from Madison University. My daughter's name's Madison. It's kind of cool. They didn't name the university after her, but you know, right? He's a certified private equity professional and a member of the Private Equity Association. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Canaan Williams.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. Hope that everyone had a great, that everyone had a great lunch. I'm Dr. Canaan Van Williams. I'm the managing founder of the Proactive Realty Group, Proactive Sustainable Bonds, author of The Affordable Housing Multimillionaire, and my second book comes out next week, which is Driving Social Impact Investment. I have a doctorate degree in psychology. I'm very thankful to be here. Thank you, Marie, for putting on such a fantastic event. I appreciate you inviting me. I'm here with our director, Jesse Hollander, who's also our investor relations person, and we'll get right to it. As the gentleman so nicely said, this is my 26th year in real estate and my 6th year as a fund manager. We're a social impact, low-income, affordable housing real estate fund. Our director, Jesse Hollander.
Hello, Jesse Hollander. Background is in banking and consulting, but yeah, I joined Proactive because we really, the recognition to combine social impact, doing good, and doing well has really been implemented with a framework. So yeah, my work is really supporting Dr. Williams and our team, a growing team, in helping identify these investments and build out an entire strategy moving forward.
Okay, so we are a sustainable bond. In real estate, it's a debt instrument, so it's basically a secured bond, a bond that's secured by real estate, secured by our track record, our current portfolio. We provide current income to investors. It's for accredited investors with maturities of 2 to 10 years. For non-accredited investors, we also have a real estate fund with a minimum of $500 investment. This particular fund has been vetted by, we're one of 2 groups on the planet to have Morningstar Sustainalytics. How many people are familiar with Morningstar, the fund rating company? What's called rapid housing. We get a lot of people that's like, yeah, we're going to build something affordable. We'll start to break ground in 18 to 24 months. No, that we focus on 2 weeks to about 90 days max.
And just one thing to note on this slide. So there's a lot of thought that a lot of the investment that happens is really for luxury, more the high end, especially areas that are gentrified. What's exciting is that there's a lot of recognition now that's the low income areas, right? And there's a number of reasons. These are just some more recent examples of the research. But when you're looking at why you should think about low income housing, you've got the growing demand, right? Everyone needs housing. And when you have other trends like greater urbanization, right, which typically leads to greater wider disparity in incomes, people are looking for affordability. We're also still dealing with the after effects of COVID, even after so many years. People recognize the value of having a place to be, and that the real estate, the amount of ability to be in somewhere that's safe, that's affordable, is critical. You've got resilience, right? Low-income housing is typically more resilient. You've got government support, right? Dr. Williams mentioned the Section 8 housing. We also have something called the Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, where the government is supporting. More recently, there was the discussion about the One Big Beautiful Bill. There was an entire section about investing in opportunity zones, which is great, and that there's a lot of areas that are needed for investors to come in and provide a vehicle that provides more stable returns. Last is really social impact, right? At the end of the day, it's the doing good and the doing well that's going to be critical. One other thing to note about the low-income housing, it's stable returns, right? When you've got these tenants that are in these areas, they're not going anywhere, typically. So you've got steady, reliable income in typically markets that might be a little bit more volatile in the higher income areas overall. And for us, the social impact is really the key, right, to this. So I'll turn it back to Dr. Williams to talk to a specific case study, a few case studies after this, but starting with this family.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. So this particular family was displaced. They came from Virginia. They experienced a lot of displacement. This is Miss Wood and her wife and their kids. They lived in Virginia. Then they lived with a cousin. They couldn't find anything affordable. They located us through Facebook. They were able to come in on the stairs that were right next to us, a brand new manufactured home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath that they are owning for $750 a month. They came in with their tax return of $6,000 down. And so they're living there, they're still there, they're thriving. By the way, this is a park that I bought about 8-9 months prior to starting the Proactive Realty Income Fund, the Proactive Realty Group. And this is a park in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So a little background, I'm originally from Oakland, California, live in Las Vegas now, and a family office that I was affiliated with, I repositioned a 53 unit that I bought in Las Vegas. And he calls me up one day, he says, Fan, I have this park I want you to buy. And I says, okay, what is the park? He said, it's called a trailer park. I says, oh, okay, I've never owned one of those. Only multifamily and single families. So fast forward, I went to the property, I bought it for $1.2 million. It was 4.5 to 5 weeks from being condemned by DHEC. And DHEC is Department of Health in South Carolina, which is a really big deal, and the local code enforcement. So I went to this particular property, moved in the middle of the property in a double wide, which I'd never lived in my life, and went to work. Bought a buy here, pay here pickup truck down to the local car dealership, $2,000 down, and paid a few $100 a month, steel toe boots, jeans, t-shirt, went to work, cleaning up garbage, trash, 90 code violations. So was able to work with code enforcement, and August of 2022, sold that same property for $5.2 million to publicly traded UMH, which is a social impact affordable housing REIT. And by the way, I'm a dealer, licensed dealer in South Carolina, and I sold them another $750,000 in brand new homes. UMH Properties, it's on the big board New York Stock Exchange. They own 30,700 spaces across the United States. They do not sublease to anyone. However, Proactive, because we're so closely aligned with the social impact, with affordable housing, we're the only group to still own and retain homes in that particular community. You can see myself or Jesse for follow-up. We have a lot of videos. We have a YouTube channel that's Flight to Safety, and then we have another one, Proactive Realty Group Investments, and you can see a lot of our case studies, videos, resident stories, the impact we're creating, and we do what's called real social impact that's verified third party. I'll talk a little bit about this slide. So the gentleman was saying he knew about sustainable development goals. So the ones we focus on is no poverty, gender equality. A lot of our households are single female women. I work with a lot of social service agencies, having a doctorate degree in psychology, coming from Oakland, California. Before I knew there was a name for what it is that I do, social impact. We always work, I work with, and the people that work with me work with private placements. We're getting families into homes. We work with an agency out of San Leandro, California called Building Futures with Women and Children. And by the grace of God, we have the opportunity to work with them again through our nonprofit. So we have a nonprofit, proactiveinitiatives.org, Proactive Impact Foundation, that supports housing essentials. So just real quick, I know it's digressing a little bit, but just think about a person or a family that goes from living in a shelter, which I've seen in Las Vegas, a huge need in Las Vegas, Nevada. They go from a shelter, they come to one of our nice, shiny, brand new manufactured homes or our newly renovated apartments. That's great. However, if you come from a shelter where you have a bed, a dresser, a TV for the kids, and some accoutrements of just basic living, and then you move into a place and you have zero, and you're sleeping on the floor, maybe on the air mattress, you have no pots and pans, you have no dishes, you have no transportation. So our nonprofit supports that for Proactive, but as well as for the public at large. And by a show of hands, how many people think it's reasonable to have a $5 bus pass that you can ride for free, unlimited for 3 days? Okay, so the person that comes and moves into one of our properties, and they have a few bucks, and they have a bus pass here and there, well, that same bus pass is $150, for 30 days. That bus pass only costs $65 if you buy it one time outright for unlimited rides. So that's where Proactive Initiatives comes in to support people so that they do not become homeless or do not fall into a bad situation again. And especially for people, we've all had a first job, even if we've worked for family members, and you get your paycheck in a hole. It's 2 or 3 weeks before that very first paycheck comes. So imagine a person that only has enough to take the bus for a week and a half or 2 weeks, and there's a gap. So they can be at risk again. This is some of our impact. This is one of our smaller properties in Las Vegas. This is at 1735 North Rancho Drive. This is the before, and literally this is the before. This is the after. These are brand new energy efficient, low E manufactured homes. This is the case study I spoke about in Orangeburg, which we have on our video channel, as well as you can see Jesse or myself for further follow-up and information.
So we have a number of different entities that a number of different funds we've built out. One that we're focusing on right now is the sustainable bonds, or proactive income fund. Two, we've got 2 different ways of investing in this opportunity. So the reason why we wanted to also launch multiple funds is to address specific and flexible needs of the investors that we work with. So we can go through this, I think, during the Q&A. We've got now a number of properties within this specific fund. Here it's 9 properties. One thing to note is the sort of investing or buying low into the area and then being able to show the actual value of it after it's appraised, after it's stabilized, beautified. A lot of the work that Dr. Williams and the Proactive team, what we do is we look to see what technologies we can implement within the areas. So where do we get additional energy efficiency that we can put in place? This then helps build a lot of the value for those properties when we're working with our investors moving forward. Bless you. A lot of just going back to sort of the why of the social impact real estate investing, is that there's a need for affordable housing. I think in San Diego alone, there's about 134,000, a gap of 134,000 rental units for low-income housing. So there is an opportunity where we can move in. Here we've got just a few states that we're currently investing in. This weekend, I believe the investment in Oakland, I think we're finalizing now as well. And a lot of the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years is working with local nonprofits, social groups that we then use to build out the network that we have moving forward overall. So just some high-level milestones. Again, we can go through this in the Q&A. The main thing is that we've been able to deliver $7.5 million back to our investors because of this formula that Dr. Williams has really been able to hone over the last several years. And as part of this, we've been able to house a pretty sizable 929 housing units to date. We've got about, I think, 5 other states that we're looking to invest in, California being one of them. We've got several properties that are in due diligence right now. With each property, we look at all of the surrounding area, what nonprofits we can work with, right, who is existing there already, and how we can really build that out moving forward. So just high-level strategies for success, just thinking on the left side. Cash flow is going to be critical, right? You want to make sure that when you're looking at a specific property, you've got obviously the rental income coming in, but you have a really clean, disciplined sense of the costs that are involved. Not obviously the costs that you initially put into it, but over time. How do you minimize the costs so that they're predictable? Cash flow obviously is going to be a key. Government programs, again, there's Section 8 housing, there's a low-income housing tax credit. There are a lot of specific programs that individual states will offer, and we look at those offering generally when we look at some specific states that we consider. So speaking with local representatives, again, speaking with people on the ground will allow you to tap into some of these programs overall. And then add value, right? So again, what technologies? There's so many amazing technologies that are out there to monitor water use, energy use, right? How can you take or even monetize some of this information and then spread it around the parks, let's say parks or areas that you invest in? So how can you come in, beautify, stabilize, and leverage the best technology that's out there? I will go through all of this risk management, but essentially that's going to be critical, right? Because you want to make sure that you're moving forward on this.